Okay, welcome everybody. Today, as promised, I'm gonna go through a bit of a tutorial for the game, but first of all, once again, the appeal. Guys, if you want to support the stream, if you want to make sure that we can continue with the Heroes of the Sports, esports coverage and everything, download Raid through the link in the description of the video and just play through the tutorial. It's a 10-minute thing, it's super fast, and it really helps the stream out. And I know a lot of people don't really like the game, but as I said before, you're pretty much supporting the stream here, and we only have like once, maybe twice a year partnership with Raid, and it's honestly one of the best ways to make sure that this all can continue. So if you want to support the stream and you want to do it in the past, you couldn't do it, you can't sub to Twitch, you can't go to the Patreon, this is the perfect thing. It takes you 10 minutes, download the game, create an account, play through a tutorial, and it's done. I would very much appreciate it because it really helps the stream a lot. As I already said, I've been playing the game now for, 2.5, nearly 3 years, and I wanted to give you guys a bit of an idea of what to do when you start for everybody that actually wants to play the game a little bit more. So that's pretty much what we're going to do right now. And with that in mind, let me just quickly switch that here, and here we are. So if you start the game, the first thing that you should actually do when you check out your heroes, click this guy. Go for Kale. Kale is one of the 4 starters that you can pick when you are in the tutorial, and this is the one that you should start with. If you start with any of the other 3, don't worry, it's not like you're ruining your account or anything, but he makes things a little bit easier initially. And he is also going to be the first hero that you want to fully focus on. So I'm going to go through that in a second, but just keep in mind that he is the one that you want to bring to level 60 first. The whole idea with Raid is honestly that it's not so much a game like Final Fantasy where you play through each round and it's like turn-based and there's a lot of strategy involved. The entire strategy part comes pretty much in before you actually start any of these stages. So just to give you guys a bit of an idea, when you at the beginning start playing the campaign, for example, this is one of the test accounts that I created for this one. You pretty much just like go into the campaign and let's say you're playing any kind of stage here. The thing that you want to do right at the beginning, you want to make this on autoplay and you want to do it on 2x speed, so as quickly as possible. Sounds a little bit counterintuitive. My first thought when I played it for the first time is like, why the hell do I want to play a game that plays itself? That's stupid. The reason why you want to do that is because Raid is pretty much a puzzle game. So you're getting new champions with new abilities. You can make them a bit stronger by booking those abilities, by upgrading them. You have items that you find, different sets that have different perks. The items can be upgraded too. You're rolling certain substats and so on and so forth. So the usually RPG stuff. But what you do in Raid is you pretty much design your composition before you're heading into any of the mid-game content to try and go through these waves. And this playing part that you see here right now, that's an automated thing where you just see, okay, does everything work out? Do I have to tweak something? Do I change my composition? Do I need different heroes in the mix? Or do I maybe need different items and sets? So that's kind of the idea behind the game. So if you look at it as a game where you are micromanaging every single round, this is really not for you. This is a time killer game, let's be honest about it. This is a gacha game. You don't have to invest any money. As you can see, there's like multiple packs that you can get, but you don't have to. Like my main account is pretty much free to play, and I'm heavily endgame. I mean, I'm about as endgame as you can get. So one of the things to keep in mind. But with what you just saw, once again, when we're clicking here into champions, this guy is really the champion that initially you want to focus on. Now, you can see the different rarities here. The blue ones are rares, the the green borders are commons, and then you have epics. Just because you get an epic champion doesn't mean that he's automatically better than a rare, and even a legendary is not necessarily better than an epic or sometimes even a rare champion. So don't just go all crazy when you have your first epic and spend all your resources on that particular champion. Again, at the beginning of the game, this is the most important one. The main reason is simply that he has a lot of AoE abilities, and once you put them into Life Leech set, which you can see here, he can easily go through those campaigns. And what you then try to do is you level food, and pretty much food is all of these common heroes that you can see here. So as you can tell, a couple of the heroes have 4 stars, the blue ones have 3 star, and these one have 2 stars. That pretty much determines what the max level for a champion is. So if I have a 2-star champion, the max level for him is 20. For a 3-star champion, it would be 30, and for a 4-star champion, it would be 40. And it goes all the way up to a 6-star champion and then level 60. And it's a total pyramid, the thing. So I can now, for example, go out of the champion selection, I can go into the tavern, and then I can upgrade the rank of a champion. Let's take this one who's already like level 20, so the maximum for 2-star. If I sacrifice 2 of these others right now, then I can upgrade him from a 2-star to a 3-star champion, but he goes down to level 1 again. And the only thing that you're doing with a lot of the blues, but pretty much with nearly every single one of the greens, is you use them as food to level up a guy like this first to 4-star, then to 5-star, and then to 6-star. So this is why you need to farm a lot of food. As you can imagine, there's a lot of heroes that you really need to level. You need to level them quickly, and that's what you do here in the campaign. So once that you go into a campaign, you're really at the beginning focusing a lot on that, because with your main champion getting stronger, that also allows you to farm. So you go as high as you can, go into a stage, click all of these away, you only keep your one guy in, he's supposed to solo the entire thing, and then you put a couple of other champions in there, and they are just fodder. So all they are supposed to do is, when you play through this right now, they're gonna die, and your one guy is going to finish this all off, and then they get experience and they grow. And then you bring them to level 20 to upgrade them to a 3-star, you can upgrade them to 4-star, and then you feed them into your main champion, and again, he eventually becomes a 6-star champion, you can get him to level 60. That's a lot of the early game that you have to do here. So again, focus on autoplay, focus on the ×2, and make sure that you're just like playing this through. Focus all of your energy on one champion that can help you with the campaign farming here, and that really unlocks all of the other content that you then have. And we're going to go through that in just a second. So just a bit of as a showcase here. So he's going to make it through all of that, as you can see. And by now the others have died, but they still get the full experience, so they're slowly leveling up. And so that's how you would play that out. So with that in mind, we have a couple of other things also to focus on. We're going to go through those real quickly. What's super important, I mean, some of this is behind me, but you have all of these things like missions, for example, that you can click, where you get a lot of free stuff all the time. You have then quests, there's daily quests, where you get a lot of free things, as you can see here. You have achievements, where you can get silver, you get experience, you get more energy, and you have also a couple of challenges, which pretty much the same thing applies. So you can just like get tons and tons of free stuff. I have seen criticisms of Raid where some people have been saying that you can actually not play the game for more like an hour a day if you don't pay money. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, you can play this game every single day if you want to for hours without paying a single cent. So it is actually ridiculous. So if you just get all of these rewards that you just saw here, then you have like some daily things that you just get for being logged into the game that you can easily grab up here. You have also login rewards over here on the side, daily login rewards that gives you stuff. It's really crazy how much they drown you in free stuff. If there's server problems at any point, they will compensate you with gifts for that. It's ridiculous, honestly. And for example, the champions that you saw a little bit earlier here in my order, the 2 that I have, the 2 epics, I didn't actually get them through shards. You get them for free as well. If you play an account to level 15, for example, a new account right now, you get some extra things too, and I think one of the champions was a reward for that. Now, another thing that becomes very important is here that even in the shop, they have free packs. So if you go down here to limited special offers, every single day you have one pack, one gift that you can get for free. So even more free stuff. As I said, if you want to play this game a lot, you don't have to pay anything for it. They drown you in that stuff pretty easily. Now, just as a side note, if you're actually somebody that wants to spend some money on games like this, there's 2 things that I can kind of recommend. A lot of the packs I don't really think are really worth it, but 2 that are kind of worth it is the daily gem pack for 10 bucks, where you get a lot of gems, and the starter pack. So both of them are 10 euros. They're like really low in price. Don't buy any shards. I don't really think it's worth it. If you are somebody that wants to invest money in something like this, these 2 packs are something that I can recommend. And then with the gems, here in the gem shop, you would usually buy yourself energy if you need it and you want to go harm somewhere. But generally speaking, again, you can do without it pretty easily. Now, when it comes to shards, again, don't buy them. I don't really think it's worth it. But when you have shards, keep in mind that these ancient shards, these void shards, and these sacred shards are pretty rare. You should never pull any of these shards when you have them outside of a ×2 event. So every couple of weeks, there will be an event where Raid, for example, says, hey, now for the duration of the next 2-3 days, if you open a sacred shard, you have twice the chance of getting a legendary champion. That's the events that you're looking for. Not the ×2 events for one specific champion, but the general ×2 event with a double chance to get some generic legendary, or in this case, the same thing. So these these 3 types, never pull them. Save them. I know it is tempting at the beginning, but save them. The green ones, it doesn't matter. You can just, whenever you get them, you can just like pull them. No problem with that. Mostly you're getting these guys that you can also then feed as food again to level up a champion. And you're getting a couple of greens. You can get a magic champion, but that's about it. So that already brings us through a few of the things. One of the things you want to do with your gems early when you get them is unlock the mine. It costs you 500 and you can then also upgrade it slowly. So when you get through the levels and all of the rewards, gems, invest them in the mine. That is going to help you in the long run if you're planning on playing the game a little bit. With the mine later on, you can also here in the Guardian Ring, once it unlock more spots. This is pretty much just a pit. You throw a hero in and he levels automatically. In this case, for example, this guy is going to get another level in 40 minutes. Then I have to click this once. Don't upgrade these things, by the way. Just unlock them. That's all you got to do. And that's that. Now, this is pretty much already a lot of the early game tips. I just want to go over a couple of the content things that we have here. So as you can see, it's not only the campaign that you can play, you have a lot more like this. Clan boss becomes super important later on. Arena is the PvP element. This is really where pay to win comes into play a little bit. Now, this is maybe 10% of the content, so most of the content is PvE, and therefore pay to win doesn't really play a role here. But in Arena, it's a little bit different. Obviously, if you invest money into your account, you level faster. But generally speaking, again, you don't have to. As I said before, my own account has very, very little money that I put in. I bought a battle pass and some stuff earlier, but nothing insane. So yeah, here you can just play fights against others and then upgrade here real quickly. Fairly straightforward. It becomes all a little bit more complicated when you're entering into the mid game, because then teams put actual compositions together where it's really important which champion goes first. You have a speed lead, you have someone that buffs your team, then you have another one that comes in, debuffs the opponent team so that they take more damage, that they do less damage, and then of course you have your actual damage dealer. So that becomes really important not only in Arena, but also when we're talking, for example, about the dungeons. That's absolute key. And this is really where raid starts to shine, because you have so many different champions with different abilities. You have to look for synergies and really to think about, okay, how do I get through that stage? How do I beat that boss? What do I have to do here? What do I have to improve? And this is really where the fun kicks in. And that's one of the things that really keeps you going, at least kept me going for a long time now. Now, when you go into dungeons, there's 3 different types here. You have potion dungeons, which are important to upgrade your champions, to ascend them. I'm not going to go too deep into that right now. You will see that in the tutorial, and there's also a lot of tips and tricks at the beginning in raid that you get from the game itself, so I don't really think I have to explain the basic mechanics here, but these are the potion dungeons. Then you have minotaurs, which are important for scrolls, where you can then get masteries for your champions, also very, very crucial and super important. And then we have these 4 dungeons over here where you get items and where you have to go through certain bosses. My general recommendation would be, at the beginning, don't spend too much time here. As you can see, energy goes up very, very quickly on these. And the one thing that you kind of want to do is campaign, farm a little bit in that, because at the beginning, one of the things that really makes your account stronger and your champ stronger is just them rising in levels and being upgraded through other champions being fed into them, as I explained earlier. So trying to break through another stage here initially isn't really worth it. Invest another 10 minutes into farming the campaign a little bit and your champions will automatically get stronger and then get through that. But this is, for example, where I'm already starting to scratch the limit with this new account. And again, fully understand this isn't looking really spectacular, but believe me, once that you're getting 2-3 levels higher up, all of a sudden you're realizing, hey, I can't just throw a couple of champions together anymore. I actually have to come in with a strategy here. And yeah, this is the main part of where raid is actually good. So here, this is one that I could still beat, but you can see I'm already like buffing my team here a bit, make them survive. Champion has some, the boss has some interesting mechanics too, but at this point doesn't play that big of a role yet. But this is, for example, one where I can go. Didn't even get an item, only got this. So I would really not focus onto those dungeons too much at the beginning. I would really focus most of the attention here into the campaign and make sure that you are 3-starring all of this. There's more difficult modes too, where you will use more of your energy as well. And that pretty much gets you started. So we created a new clan also for raid right now, Kaldorians 2. We have a main clan where my main account is already in. You're all welcome to join that. You can just simply join, just look for Kaldor and you're going to find those. We have a Discord channel, which is also linked in the description. If you have any questions, what to do, what not to do, then you should definitely check that out as well. One last piece of advice would be that when we're talking about skills, so champions, they have their skills, you can upgrade them and reach those levels, which gives you cooldown reduction, increased buff chance, or just more damage. You have these things are pretty rare. Now the blue ones, it doesn't really matter too much. You can really YOLO them out, especially on your main champion. Not a problem at all. You will get plenty of those. The epic ones and the legendary ones, that's a very different story. So when you, for example, get a couple of legendary books, this is the rarest resource in the entire game. Just because you found a legendary champion doesn't mean that that champion is worth those books. So definitely make sure that you double check first that it's really a useful champion that you're going to use in the future before you sacrifice legendary books. It's really something that you should keep an eye on. The same goes more or less also for the epic books, so there you got to be a little bit more careful. Generally speaking, again, if you just want to support the channel, all that you got to do is download the game through the link in the description, play through the tutorial, and you already helped me. Thank you very much if you're going to do that. Really appreciate it. If you want to play the game a little bit more, check out the tips and tricks that I just gave you. It gets you started at least. And if you have more questions, you're always welcome in the Discord channel to talk to us and ask of what to do next, what not to do, and how to, for example, improve. So have fun with it. I personally think it's a nice game. Again, it's a time killer game. It's not really a main game. It's something you play at the airport, something you play when you're commuting. It replaced my old time killer game. I played Clash of Clans on my phone before, ever since I started with Raid, through a campaign, granted, but since then I've played pretty much consistently on this one and replaced the old one. I like it. I understand that there are people who don't, but at the end of the day, really, for me, it's a fun game. For what it is. You have to understand what it is, you have to be okay with what it is, you have to like the type of game. I do, and if you do, then you're gonna have a lot of fun with it. Either way, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope that you learned something. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them into the comment section. And again, if you could spend the 10 minutes to go through the tutorial within your account, that would be absolutely appreciated. It would really help. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and see you guys soon. Bye-bye.